What's the kid like actually like desiring to self-benefit from being stuck in that system, bro? Apart from that, they're getting like Game Boys, pizza, you know what I mean? But they're getting all the bonuses, dude. But they're like, and they're doing their maths classes and their English classes or whatever. But they're not actually learning that like there's a self-responsibility behind your actions, bro.
Well, this won't come as a surprise to Queenslanders. The state has just been named the crime capital of Australia.
Unrest is growing across Queensland over a rise in youth crime.
Yet again, crime is front page news today.
Dozens of charges and no jail time.
One Queenslander every month this year killed at the hands of a youth criminal.
Queensland's youth crime crisis.
The crime crisis.
Youth crime crisis.
The youth crime crisis, and many of you in Queensland have faced it firsthand.
We headed into the Voice for Victims rally to hopefully learn more about what has recently captured the state's attention with growing protests, TV segments and newspaper articles around Queensland youth justice. The victims shared their stories and others shared solutions and the lack of government action that was contributing to the problem. The worrying of crime is the highest of any state, and Queenslanders are currently the least politically optimistic citizens in the entire country. This contradicted the data I had initially found, indicating a decrease in youth crime in the state per offender rates. So I was keen to turn my attention to those rallying to hear what brought them out to protest.
We are retired, we are not victims, we just wish to support. We have a son in the police force. We understand the pain people are going through. And the amazing thing is, I've met a lady in Cairns who is a victim. She was saying that she didn't get any support up there in the north. We may be able to help get a group going in the north who feel left out. But it made us feel that we can actually do something even though we're not victims.
There's a lot of lawlessness out there, and the government just needs to be aware of what's going on, listen to what these people have to say.
We need legislation to come up to date, and they're right. We need places built that can change these kids. You know, not everybody's bad. Look, some people, sure, but not everybody, and they can be changed if they are given purpose. Give the kids purpose.
What brought you out here today, man?
Bro, just bring me out here, man, basically, man, because fucking, man, I just want to see people have a better life, man, make better, like, life decisions, man. At the end of the day, bro, you can make your own choices, man, but if you keep making the wrong ones, man, you're going to just, like, live that life, bro, and you won't, like, benefit yourself, like, personally and making self-decisions, bro, and choices, man. You're just going to be a delinquent, bro, all your life, man. You don't really get much out of a delinquent, bro. You just get the same repetitive shit, bro. You don't really want to live in a repetitive lifestyle. You want to have changes consistently, bro, because you're motivating yourself in order to, like, prosper, to be something better, man. The youth isn't doing that at the moment, bro. So if the youth isn't doing that, bro, then, like, the parents are going to be worried about what choices they're making that is, like, influential to making the kid's life better, bro. If the parents aren't feeling like they're making the choices, bro, then who's making the choices? The kids are. And there's no adult shit, bro. There's no mentor. Like agriculture, bro, like a better, like, program facility, bro. Like, man, in juvie, man, it costs $500,000 a year, man, for one kid to stay in a cell, bro, right? A lot of these kids, like, walking the talk by being criminals, bro. But if they weren't, like, if they were walking the talk of being an entrepreneurial, like, person, bro, then they'd be, like, self-benefiting themselves, bro, you know?
They're not taught the actual, like, deeper stuff that they need to know about.
Yeah. Like, it's like being a conspiracy theorist, dude, you know what I mean, bro? You can be a conspiracy theorist all your life, bro. But if you got no theory behind, like, the basic mass of it, bro, then what's the purpose, like, in being a conspiracy theorist, dude, you know what I mean? You got no conspiracy to your theory. That's the shit fucking, like, joy, bro, of life, man. Basically, dude, yeah, man, I'm just, like, speaking off the top of my mind, bro, just expressing to you how I feel genuinely, man. I've been a little shit, stolen a can of Coke and stuff, bro, like, from a store or whatever, dude, but I've never, like, fucking stolen a car and gone out and, like, well, I've done dumb shit. Like, that stuff will, like, eventually affect your life, dude, in the long run, like, personally, than if you were to make a choice, bro, and, like, walk a path of God or walk a path, like, of, like, righteousness, bro, where you're making, like, proper right decisions, man. You're not, like, fucking yourself, and you're not fucking your youth, man, and you're not fucking your future, bro. What do kids get out of this shit, man? Like, they walk around and they litter, man, they slander, they act like tough guys, bro, but in the end, they're really tough, dude. I believe it's personally a self-choice, man, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Ice Cube says, man, gangster rap made me do it, bro. It's like, gangster rap didn't make him do shit, man. He made every choice he ever made, but in the end, dude, he makes a decision, bro, to, like, want to prosper, to, like, influence kids into a better direction, bro, you know what I mean?
So I was involved in a violent home invasion. My neighbour's name is Torai Kefu. A couple of years ago, his family, half a dozen people were stabbed in his home, and I ran in at 2 in the morning to help. and got caught up with. I caught one of the guys and spent about 10 minutes with him rolling around in my neighbour's blood. You know, I got injured as well. So yeah, that's why I kind of all of a sudden found crime on my agenda. The issue we have is a social human issue that they need to have a social human consideration and approach to, because just doing it because it's politically favourable is not going to fix the problem. I mean, we hear it, early intervention. You know, it's easier to fix a 4-year-old than it is to fix a 14-year-old. We have to get better as a society to go, well, where are the breaks? Where are the areas where kids are suffering and falling through the cracks? And we need to get better at that long term to fix, you know, those people to be adults. There's no doubt that, and you can almost pinpoint the hotspots of where it is a socio-economic, social issue. We've got to get better at making those communities stand on their own 2 feet and give them the resources to do that.
Despite the figures in crime decreasing in certain areas, a closer look shows why Queenslanders are vocal about this issue. The themes they spoke about of rehabilitation, early intervention, and gangster rap not making them do shit are all valid concerns when looking at the 2023 Productivity Commission report. Ben Cannon recently said in an article responding to youth crime decreasing that reoffending was a large issue that needed continued work. And he's right. Queensland has the highest reoffending rate in Australia, with 56% of inmates returning to youth detention centres within 12 months of their release. The state also has an incredibly high capacity at 95% filled, 45% higher than the second place New South Wales. We spend a little over $2,000 per inmate a day for detention and produce the second lowest amount of case plans in the nation for both detention centres and community services. It became obvious to me that the current system in place was failing to serve both the community and the inmates detained.
Keith Hamburger, former Director General of Queensland Corrective Services. Current juvenile justice system works on high security youth detention centres, probably 300 beds or so. They're totally failed. 90% of people come back within 12 months and 90% go on to adult prisons. We're dealing with very problematic young folk and they need to be dealt with individually. Once they come to the notice of the police, they have to be fully assessed, taken to an assessment centre where that can be done. Many of them have fetal alcohol syndrome problems, they're functionally illiterate, very disadvantaged circumstances, their homes are unsafe. So that assessment process typically in best practice takes 3 to 4 weeks. Out of that, a pathway plan is prepared. That child is then taken before a magistrate. The magistrate has a professional panel there with them who've helped prepare that pathway plan. And then the magistrate decides what we're going to do with that child. Under our model, we've got about 5 options. The first one for very heinous crimes. They have to go away for a long time, but they go into a humane situation that's secure. Typically would have a large tract of land, it would have opportunities to do all sorts of things. They get training, education and so forth for the life of their sentence, but they're kept away from, they don't run free. Desirably, these smaller centres are located across the state so they won't be too far away from their family or community of interest, so they're not isolated. At the moment we bring kids 1,000 kilometres from up north and out west down to the big cities. Down below that we have about smaller 12-bed facilities. Below that we have an authorised kinship caring system that works, and then beyond that children can get progress back to family. So it's like a continuum of options that the magistrate has. Instead of these large inhumane detention centres, they only criminalise them, because when you let them out and they come back within a year and then they grow up and they become adult criminals, it's just not working. And I reckon if that was done, probably in about 3 years or so, we could have a whole different system, less crime, save a lot of money, save lives. We've tabled it to the government, and at this stage I have to say we haven't got a lot of interest. We've been tabling it now for a few years. The government's also ignored the Queensland Productivity Commission's report in 2019 that required a Justice Reform Office to be established. We finally, in the recent weeks, got them to move to do that, but we're still arguing or arm wrestling over how that will look. But we're making progress, and with the Voice of Victims group and Ben Cannon, we're hoping in the next few weeks that we'll get some flesh around a complete reform model that we can start to work on the sort of thing I've just described.
As movements such as the Voice for Victims continue to progress in bringing this issue to light, it will be interesting to see how the government will respond. Will they continue to pour money into a system that statistically is yet to produce results, or turn to an entirely different approach similar to the one Keith proposed to us?